Hello, gentle souls. Welcome to Silver Veil Tarot. Today we'll be doing a pick a card reading focused on your person's feelings in the energy of this connection. Take a moment to ground yourself, take a deep breath, and connect with your intuition. Pile 1 is paired with blue Chalcedony. Pile 2 is paired with Aquamarine. Pile 3 is paired with a raw piece of purple amethyst. Choose the pile you're most drawn to. Pause the video if you need to. I'll see you at your reading. Hello, Pile 1. This is going to be your reading. You were drawn to the energy of blue Chalcedony, a stone of calm insight and gentle understanding. Your guiding card is Ariel. This card speaks of new experiences, both intuitive and spiritual, quietly reshaping the way you see the world and yourself. You may be entering a phase of expansion where your awareness is deepening and your perception is softening. Allow your spiritual gifts to unfold naturally through study, prayer, or meditation. To understand the dynamic here, we'll look at one card for your energy and one for your person. Your energy comes through as the Empress. This speaks of inner abundance, emotional depth, and a quiet, embodied confidence. An intuitive, grounded presence, emotionally rich, warm, and nurturing. Your person's energy comes through as the Nine of Wands. This reflects someone who has been through a lot emotionally and is carrying the weight of past experiences. There's resilience here, but also guardedness, a sense of staying alert, protecting themselves, and bracing for what might come next. Now we'll look at the energy of the connection itself. I'm drawing one card to represent the past of this connection and one card to represent the present. This is a very specific energetic story, so if this does not resonate, this is simply not your pile. Feel free to return to the beginning and choose another. The card for the past is the Knight of Cups. This suggests that the connection began in a very romantic, emotionally open way. This could have been a relationship, a first date, or someone making a move to connect. There may have been genuine affection, emotional curiosity, or a feeling of being seen and emotionally met. When we look at the present energy of the connection, the card that appears is the Three of Swords. There has been a shift. This suggests that you were involved with this person on an emotional level and that something has fractured since then. There has been a fallout here, a separation, a disappointment. Words may have been exchanged, expectations may not have been met, or realizations came that couldn't be undone. I see grief, sadness, or emotional clarity that hurts because it's real. There could be miscommunication, betrayal of expectations, or simply the pain of realizing that the connection could not continue in the way it once existed. To explore the Three of Swords more deeply, I'm drawn to pull a clarifier to see the underlying energy of your person. The Devil. This suggests that some of the heartbreak you experienced may have been shaped by their motivations or limitations, aspects of themselves that weren't visible at first glance. There may have been obsession, desire, or ways in which someone acted out of need, fear, or unhealthy patterns. This could show as a need for control, emotional dependence, or repeated behaviors that kept them tied to familiar ways of being, even if those ways caused tension or pain. Impulses may have overridden clarity, and attachments, whether to habits or fears, may have shaped choices in subtle or overt ways. The energy can feel magnetic, intense, or even consuming, creating a push-pull dynamic where emotions are heightened, boundaries are tested, and the heart feels drawn into cycles that are difficult to fully understand in the moment. This doesn't necessarily mean malice, but it shows forces that could have created tension, miscommunication, or emotional imbalance. Now let's look at your person's inner world, their feelings, what they want, and what they think about you. We'll keep your energy and their energy cards at the top. Okay, what do they feel for you? Strength. Okay, what do they want from this connection? The Hierophant. Okay, what do they think of my pile one? The Nine of Cups reversed. Now let's pull clarifiers. Eight of Wands, Ace of Swords, Six of Wands reversed. They have a deep affection for you. There is care and warmth. Their feelings are not fleeting. They are grounded, resilient. The Eight of Wands brings movement and momentum to this energy. It suggests that these emotions are active and in motion. There may be a rush of feelings, a heightened sense of urgency, or events and interactions that are propelling their heart forward. If these feelings haven't been fully clear to you yet, or if their affection hasn't been openly expressed, the Eight of Wands indicates that this may change soon. The energy suggests a coming clarity, communication, or action that will make their emotions more visible. Moving on to what they want in this connection, they want a traditional attachment, a relationship that is structured, committed, and recognized. This could look like dating with intention, moving toward exclusivity, or even considering long-term commitments, such as proposals or marriage. Their heart is seeking a connection that has a clear framework, something stable and emotionally secure. If you are not at that point yet, this energy indicates that their outlook is traditional and intentional. You may see a series of steps, gestures, or shared experiences, dates, conversations, or moments that are meant to build toward a committed path. The Ace of Swords adds sharpness and clarity to this energy, highlighting honesty, truth, and open communication. At the same time, this energy is at the beginning. It is a seed, a spark, or an initial offer that opens the door to clarity and understanding. Now let's look at what they think of you, Pile 1. Here, the energy is complex, and I fear there may be some bad news. The cards suggest that they may not fully recognize or appreciate the depth of your energy. With the Nine of Cups reversed, there's a sense that they may perceive you as somewhat dissatisfied, perhaps not fully content with what you have, or even questioning your own fulfillment. This isn't necessarily true. It's more about how they see you from their perspective. They might feel as though something is missing from you, or that you express concerns or frustrations that make them notice your vulnerability. This could create an impression that you whine or question things, even if that isn't the truth. The Six of Wands reversed adds another layer. They may be struggling to fully acknowledge your value, confidence, or the successes and clarity you carry. From their perspective, your poise, self-assured energy, or achievements might feel intimidating, distant, or misinterpreted, especially because your card is the Empress. All of this is merely their perspective. It is not aligned with the truth. They do not see you as the Empress. They do not see your emotional depth and richness, your confidence, or your accomplishments. Their perception is filtered through their own limitations, insecurities, or misunderstandings. In essence, what they think of your pile reflects their lens, not your reality. You remain the embodiment of abundance, intuition, and natural confidence, fully seen and understood by your own energy, regardless of their perception. To take a deeper look at this misalignment, the gap between how they see you and the truth of your energy, I'm pulling a clarifier. The card that appears is the Eight of Swords. This suggests that you may be wrapped up in their perspective, caught in the tension of trying to reconcile how they perceive you with the reality of who you are. There may be moments where you doubt your own value, question your worth, or feel restricted by their misunderstandings. The Eight of Swords here is gentle guidance. It reminds you that the limitations you feel are not truly yours. They are tied to the way you've internalized this misalignment, not the truth of your energy. In fact, the cards affirm that you are a content person, emotionally fulfilled, with a rich inner world. You live a life where you are celebrated and you carry accomplishments to be proud of. You are not defined by how others perceive you. Your value, confidence, and emotional depth remain intact. This is an invitation to release mental blocks, step out of restrictive thought patterns, and fully embrace the Empress energy you embody, abundant, grounded, and radiant, regardless of what others see. Now, let's dive deeper into the advice for you, guided by the Eight of Swords. Page of Cups and the King of Wands. The advice is to embrace openness and curiosity. Reconnect with the enthusiasm of discovering new experiences, to be excited by surprises, and to approach life with a playful, receptive energy. Remember to allow yourself to be delighted by the unexpected, to trust your intuition, and to stay emotionally open without overthinking or judgment. The King of Wands adds strength, courage, and leadership. It encourages you to take ownership of your own power, to act with confidence, and to navigate the situation with clarity and boldness. Together, these cards advise you to step out of self-imposed mental restrictions, embrace the joy of exploration and discovery, and move forward with confidence, clarity, and emotional awareness. Now, let's take a peek into the potential future of this connection if the current energies remain unchanged. Seven of Pentacles. Five of Cups. Knight of Swords. The Seven of Pentacles suggests a period of reflection and assessment. This is a moment of pause where both of you may step back and evaluate the effort, investment, and growth of the connection. There may be a sense of waiting, wondering if progress will come, or considering whether the connection is yielding the desired results. There may be potential disappointment or emotional loss in the future, a focus on what feels missing rather than appreciating what remains. There may be an emotional weight of unmet expectations and the pain that can arise from attachment to what could have been. Then there may come a surge of momentum, urgency, or sudden action. If the connection continues along the current path, there may be rapid decisions, impulsive moves, or confrontations that cut through reflection with intensity. While it can bring clarity, it can also escalate tension if not tempered with awareness and patience. Together, these cards suggest that if current energies remain unchanged, the future may involve careful reflection, emotional challenges, and sudden shifts or confrontations. It's a cautionary glimpse, I have to say. As I don't see a healthy, fulfilling relationship unfolding from this connection in the current energies, let's pull a couple more cards to go further into the future. Six of Swords. Eight of Pentacles. The Six of Swords suggests moving away from the connection, whether by you, them, or both. It reflects a conscious or necessary shift, leaving behind the patterns, tensions, or misalignments that have characterized the relationship. If the connection continues, the Eight of Pentacles highlights the hard work that would be required. If the bond does not die down, maintaining or improving it would demand dedication, effort, and commitment from both sides. Let's pull one more card. Seven of Wands. There may be struggles, competition, or moments of defensiveness, not only with external factors, but also within yourself. It reflects the internal fight to maintain boundaries, assert your needs, and stand your ground. Looking ahead at the potential future of this connection, I want to share what I sense if the current energies remain unchanged. I don't see a truly happy or fulfilling ending for this connection. There may be moments of tension, struggle, or disappointment, and it could require significant effort just to maintain the bond. You or they may find yourself stepping away, facing challenges, or needing to fight for clarity and alignment. Focus on your own clarity, growth, and self-worth rather than trying to force a connection that isn't naturally aligned. I'm sorry to be the bearer of some difficult news. Perhaps you were hoping for a happy ending with this person, but significant changes would need to happen for that to be possible. First and foremost, the perception this person has of you would need to shift. Their view of you is currently skewed. They do not see you as the Empress, and their perception does not reflect your true depth, confidence, and richness. The heartbreak we saw in the present moment, the Three of Swords, would need to be addressed. Apologies, healing, and honest communication would be required to mend what has been fractured. Their feelings for you are present, yes, but if their perception is distorted, it raises the question, who are those feelings truly directed toward? Without a shift in awareness, their affection cannot fully reach the truth of who you are. Finally, the old patterns, unhealthy coping mechanisms, and shadow tendencies we saw with the devil would need to change. Without confronting these, the connection is unlikely to evolve into a healthy, fulfilling relationship. In essence, while there is emotional energy here, the path to a harmonious future would require deep work, clarity, and transformation, both within them and in the connection itself. To conclude this reading, let's draw an oracle card for guidance. The card is number 26, Renewal and Development. This card highlights the importance of your personal growth and evolution. It reminds you that, even if this connection does not turn out as you had hoped, you are always moving forward, renewing yourself, learning, and developing into a fuller version of who you are. The affirmation, I acknowledge all renewals and transformations in my life, encourages you to honor your own journey. Each ending, challenge, or disappointment is an opportunity to shed what no longer serves you, to grow stronger, and to embrace your evolving self. In essence, this card invites you to focus on yourself, your clarity, your emotional depth, and your resilience. Even when external circumstances don't align with your desires, your personal renewal and development continue. Let's draw another oracle card for guidance. This card is Opportunities. This card encourages you to remain open to what the future may hold. Even if this connection does not unfold as you had hoped, life continues to present new paths, experiences, and chances for growth and fulfillment. Opportunities can appear in unexpected ways, in new connections, personal pursuits, or experiences that expand your horizons. This card is a reminder to stay receptive, curious, and willing to explore the possibilities that life offers, rather than focusing solely on what didn't manifest as you wished. By embracing the energy of opportunities, you align yourself with a forward-moving, expansive mindset, one that honors your growth, celebrates your strengths, and remains open to the abundance of life's offerings. I'm drawn to pull a tarot card of what opportunity may present itself. Knight of Cups. This card suggests the arrival of a new emotional opportunity, perhaps even a new love. The Knight of Cups embodies movement, initiative, and an open-hearted approach to life's emotional possibilities. This energy encourages you to step into curiosity and receptivity. Even if the current connection has not brought the fulfillment you were hoping for, the Knight of Cups reminds you that the universe is offering new emotional landscapes. A new connection may appear that resonates more authentically with who you are, one that acknowledges your depth, values your emotional richness, and invites you to engage fully and passionately. This card also emphasizes the importance of being ready, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, to receive this opportunity. Reflect on what you truly desire, on your boundaries, and on the qualities that matter most in a partner or connection. By embracing openness and aligning with your heart, you create space for love, emotional growth, and deeply fulfilling experiences to flow into your life. In essence, keep your heart attuned, your mind open, and your spirit curious. Opportunities for emotional renewal, romantic exploration, and meaningful connection are on the horizon, and your willingness to engage with them will shape the richness of what is to come. The guidance here is for you to honor your feelings, reflect on your value, and embrace the lessons and growth the universe is offering. Even if the path isn't exactly what you hoped for, even if the connection you were inquiring about won't go as you hoped, the reading highlights your strength, your emotional richness, and the opportunities ahead. Take the advice to heart. Stay open, curious, and grounded in your own energy. There's always room for renewal, personal development, and the chance for meaningful connections to appear. Thank you for being here, Pile 1. This is the end of your reading. If this reading resonated with you, feel free to like, comment, or share your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next reading. Thank you for being here, and I hope to connect with you again soon. Welcome, Pile 2. If you were drawn to the Aquamarine, this reading is for you. Aquamarine carries an energy of calm, trust, and emotional flow. It asks you to soften, to breathe, to allow things to unfold without force. Your guiding card for this pile is Serena, Abundance. This message comes as reassurance. You are supported. You will receive the abundance you need, not necessarily all at once, not always in the way you expect, but in the way that is aligned for you. This card asks you to have faith. Faith in timing, faith in yourself, and faith that what is meant for you cannot miss you. To understand the dynamic here, let's look at one card representing your energy and one representing the energy of the person you're asking about. Your energy, pile 2, is represented by the Wheel of Fortune. The energy of your person is the Two of Swords. The Wheel of Fortune tells me you're in a period of transition, movement, and shifting cycles. Things may feel uncertain, unpredictable, or out of your control, but there's also a sense that something is turning in your favor. The wheel reflects fate, timing, and change. It suggests that you are no longer in a stagnant phase. Events are unfolding, lessons are completing, and new chapters are preparing to open. This is not a moment of stillness, it's a moment of evolution. There's a sense here that you are being carried forward by forces larger than yourself. Whether you're fully aware of it or not, the situation you're in is changing, and you're being repositioned emotionally, spiritually, or even physically toward a different phase of your life. For some of you, this may look like sudden changes in your emotional life, a connection shifting unexpectedly, a situation ending or restarting without much warning. For others, this could be a period where plans feel delayed or accelerated all at once, where timing doesn't seem linear, and you're asked to trust the process rather than control the outcome. Some of you may feel like you're at a crossroads, where an old cycle is closing and a new one is beginning, even if you can't yet see what that new chapter fully looks like. And for some, this wheel energy may show up as a deep inner shift, a change in perspective, priorities, or beliefs, where you're no longer the same person you were even a short time ago. This energy aligns beautifully with the message of abundance we saw earlier. The wheel reminds you that nothing stays the same forever. and that what you're moving toward has purpose, even if the path feels unclear right now. Maybe things don't make sense yet. Maybe you're in a phase where plans change, people come in or out of your life unexpectedly, or situations start moving on their own timeline rather than yours. You might feel like you're being pushed forward without fully understanding why, or like life is rearranging itself around you. And while that can feel unsettling, the wheel and Serena are deeply reassuring. They remind you that this movement has purpose. Nothing here is random. Even delays, endings, or sudden shifts are part of a larger alignment. This card says, trust where you are. You're not stuck. You're not falling behind. You're in motion. And even if you can't control the wheel, you can trust that it's turning you toward growth, clarity, and the abundance you're meant to receive. Now, let's look at the energy of the person you're asking about. This feels like someone standing at a crossroads. There are two paths, two options, or two emotional truths pulling at them at the same time, and they genuinely don't know which one to choose. Part of this energy is indecision. They may be weighing pros and cons, going back and forth internally, changing their mind, or feeling torn between what they feel and what they think they should do. At the same time, there's an element of stillness. On one hand, they don't want to choose wrong. When the choice feels heavy, people sometimes freeze, not out of indifference, but because deciding would mean closing one door forever. At the same time, there is a strong desire to remain still. A decision needs to be made, but they aren't ready to make it. In their life, this can show up as delaying decisions, staying in limbo, or keeping situations unresolved, because committing to one direction feels too final. Toward you, this may feel like mixed signals. One moment they seem emotionally present, the next they pull back. They might seem present one moment and distant the next, open but guarded, interested yet cautious. It's not a lack of feeling, it's the fear of committing to one direction and letting the other go. This is the energy of someone trying to hold balance while standing between choices, hoping that time will soften the decision or make it clearer for them. They might care deeply for you, feel drawn, or even be in love, but making a choice, expressing it, committing, or taking the next step feels heavy. They're standing at a crossroads where the heart and mind pull in different directions, and instead of leaning into one, they freeze. There's so many ways this energy can show itself. Maybe they're emotionally conflicted. One day they're warm and attentive, the next distant or cold. Maybe they're indecisive about the relationship itself, whether to commit, label things, or talk about the future, and so they hold back. Or maybe they're torn between you and someone or something else in their life, which keeps them hesitant. Each situation can be different, but the theme is the same: uncertainty and pause. Sometimes they will avoid vulnerability completely. They might not share what they want, how they feel, or what's really on their mind. They might hope that time will clarify the decision for them. In other cases, they may act cautiously because they've been hurt before, or because they're trying to protect their heart. This can look like sending mixed signals, overthinking their next move, or even creating distance to prevent mistakes. For you, this can feel confusing or frustrating. Your energy may be moving forward, growing, ready to engage and connect, like your Wheel of Fortune energy shows, while they remain hesitant and conflicted. The push-pull dynamic can feel like a test of patience or clarity. Here's the key takeaway. The Two of Swords is telling you that mixed signals, pauses, or indecision are part of the picture right now, but it's also giving them space to reflect before making a choice. And for you, you're allowed to honor your own movement and your own growth. You're allowed to stay true to yourself, even if they're stuck at the crossroads. This energy can play out in lots of ways. Just because they're paused now doesn't mean it's forever, and it doesn't define your worth. Now let's look at the energy of the connection itself. We're drawing one card to represent the past and one card to represent the present. For the past, we have the Ten of Swords. For the present, we have the Page of Wands. For the past of the connection itself, Maybe there was heartbreak, disappointment, miscommunication, or emotional exhaustion that left its mark. This could be a previous interaction, a fallout, or the way the connection began with challenges. Maybe there was a moment when one or both of you felt hurt or betrayed, a period where you had misunderstandings, arguments, or unmet expectations. Maybe you had a fallout, a fight that never fully healed, a moment when one or both of you felt hurt or unseen. It doesn't have to be big. It could be that small disappointments stacked up and made the connection feel heavy. Imagine you went on a few dates and then one of you ghosted for a bit, or there was a fight that never fully got resolved. But if this is a new connection, the Ten of Swords might speak to your past, piled 2, or the past of your person. Perhaps you've come from a period of difficulty in love or relationships, or you've experienced emotional endings that still shape how you approach new connections. Maybe you've been let down before, had heartbreak, or felt unappreciated in relationships. You might approach this connection cautiously because of that, testing them a little, overthinking signals, or comparing this person to past experiences. It could show up as hesitating to fully open your heart, asking yourself, is this going to end badly like last time? That's normal. Your past informs your present, and it helps you protect yourself while also learning what you truly want. If the Ten of Swords reflects the other person, it's showing their history of hurt, betrayal, or emotional disappointment. Maybe they've been let down in previous relationships, struggled with trust, or had to protect themselves in love. Maybe they're fresh off an old relationship. Maybe they had a heartbreak. It's not doom and gloom, it's just the reality of the story so far. The Ten of Swords is simply highlighting that there's history here, emotional patterns, lessons, and experiences that shape how the present connection is unfolding. Seeing this can help you approach things with clarity, patience, and compassion. Right now, the connection feels like a spark. There's curiosity, playfulness, definitely interest. This could look like lighthearted messages, teasing, small gestures. It feels exciting, new, and a little unpredictable, like you don't quite know where it will go, but you feel the pull of possibility. This energy invites you to notice the little sparks, the playful texts, the glances, the subtle hints. It's a let's see what happens kind of vibe, where exploration comes before commitment, curiosity before decisions. If this is a new connection, the Page of Wands shows that the connection itself is full of potential. This is the excitement of discovery, flirting, playful messaging, first dates, or new adventures together. There's an eagerness to explore and see where things might go. It's fresh, tentative, and not yet fully formed. This can look like someone reaching out for the first time with clear interest, tentative steps of flirtation, playful energy, trying to understand the other person's personality, or testing compatibility. The page encourages openness, curiosity, and exploration without rushing into anything serious too quickly. Don't force outcomes, don't stress over what's next, and don't try to predict every turn. Instead, notice the small sparks, the way someone makes you smile, the excitement of a text, or the thrill of discovering shared interests. Let yourself be open, curious, and lighthearted. This energy is about letting go of control just a little. It's about flirting without overthinking, sending playful messages, noticing chemistry, or going on dates without pressure. It's about enjoying the process of getting to know each other, seeing the quirks, surprises, and unexpected joys that pop up along the way. If this is an established connection, the past may have been challenging. Maybe you and this person broke up. Maybe there were moments of conflict, heartbreak, or disappointment that left both of you feeling unsure or wounded. But right now, there's a fresh energy in the connection. If you're still together, you might notice playful moments, renewed interest, or a desire to try things differently, to experiment with the relationship, or to reconnect in ways that feel lighter. If you're no longer together, this could show up as tentative steps to reconnect, friendly messages, or new ways of engaging that hint at potential possibilities without any pressure. This can look like a conversation that suddenly feels warm and engaging after a period of distance, Small gestures that remind you of why you connected in the first place, or a playful energy that hasn't existed for a while. It could also show as curiosity about what each of you truly wants, how you feel now, and what's possible going forward. The key here is to notice the sparks and moments of connection without forcing anything. There's history, yes, and maybe lingering wounds, but there's also the opportunity to approach the relationship or even the renewed connection with curiosity, openness, and a willingness to see what can grow naturally. Now we'll take a closer look at the person you're asking about. We're going to draw cards to represent their feelings for you, what they want from this connection, and to reveal what they think of you. This will help us understand the dynamic from their perspective and see what's really going on. Page of Swords. What they want from this connection. Page of Cups. What they think of you. Pile 2. 3 of Wands. Let's pull clarifiers. Eight of Wands. Seven of Swords. Knight of Pentacles. Looking at their feelings for you, there is curiosity, attentiveness, and a strong interest in understanding you. They are watching, learning, and trying to figure out how to engage with you, not in a cold or distant way, but with genuine inquisitiveness. They may be intrigued by your personality, your presence, or the way you carry yourself, and part of their energy is focused on observing, analyzing, and learning more about you. They're curious, alert, and mentally engaged. This might look like someone who notices the little things about you, how you laugh, how you phrase things, the way you move or think. They're trying to figure you out, not in a stalkerish way, but because they genuinely want to understand you. They may ask questions, notice patterns, or comment on things that others wouldn't pick up on. It's a beautiful energy. The Eight of Wands adds that sense of speed and urgency. It's like this curiosity isn't passive. It wants to act, to reach out, to move things forward. So maybe one day they're texting or calling a lot, full of energy and interest, and the next day they might pull back a little, still processing or observing. But underneath it all, there's that drive. They can't help but feel drawn to engage. This could look like someone who suddenly appears more attentive than usual, sending quick messages, playful comments, or thoughtful gestures that show they're thinking about you. Maybe they notice a detail you mentioned weeks ago and bring it up in conversation, showing that they're paying attention. Or perhaps they reach out with ideas for plans, dates, or shared experiences, little sparks of energy meant to see how things unfold. Overall, the Page of Swords plus Eight of Wands shows someone who is intrigued by you, mentally engaged, and feeling a pull to connect. They may not have fully expressed everything yet, but the energy is there, noticing, thinking, and eager to engage. It's that, oh wow, I really want to know them better feeling, paired with the drive to actually do something about it. So when you feel their energy, it's like there's this constant hum of curiosity and interest. You might catch them glancing at you in a way that says, I'm paying attention, or notice how they suddenly light up when talking to you. It's playful, energetic, and kind of thrilling because you never know exactly when that burst of attention will hit. This isn't about obsession or pressure. It's more like someone being magnetically drawn to you, mentally and emotionally, trying to figure out how to bridge that curiosity into something more. That energy alone can make you feel seen, noticed, and appreciated in a way that's fun, light, and full of possibility. What they want from this connection is genuine emotional engagement. The Page of Cups is curious, excited, and open to exploring feelings. They want to connect, to see what's possible, and to experience emotional closeness with you. It's playful, yes, but it's also heartfelt. Think gestures that feel sweet and intentional, messages that make you smile, little surprises, invitations to spend time together, and emotional honesty that feels light but meaningful. They want emotional closeness, excitement, and the possibility of something meaningful developing. They want to experience affection, tenderness, and the joy of discovering each other. It's playful, curious, and alive. They're craving the kind of connection where there's both fun and genuine feeling. The Seven of Swords adds nuance, a non-traditional or cutting corners feeling. They might want connection on their own terms, not following the usual rules or timelines. Maybe they're not looking for a conventional relationship structure, or they're imagining ways to experience closeness without all the formalities. The Page of Cups still shows the curiosity, playfulness, and emotional interest, the desire for sweetness, affection, and heartfelt experiences. But the Seven of Swords suggests they might want to approach it differently than most people would. This could look like unconventional dating, flirty back and forth, emotional intimacy without labels, or exploring feelings while still keeping some freedom or flexibility. This might show up as wanting to connect deeply, but in ways that feel spontaneous, playful, or unorthodox. They could be drawn to ways of communicating and connecting that feel different from the traditional relationship path. The energy is creative and emotionally curious. They want connection, but they want it on their terms. They want the emotional experience, closeness, attention, affection, but there's a desire to do it in a way that's unconventional, flexible, and tailored to how they imagine the connection rather than following the usual script. So maybe they suggest doing things that feel offbeat or unconventional, like secret little adventures, late night chats, or creative ways to spend time together. They might want moments that feel intimate but not formal. For example, instead of a standard dinner date, they could suggest a walk somewhere meaningful, a playful activity you both enjoy, or a private, emotional conversation that's just yours and theirs. Looking at what they think of you, there's a sense of admiration and respect. They see someone who is capable, forward thinking, and steadily moving through life, someone who knows what they want and has the patience and discipline to achieve it. This could look like them noticing how you handle challenges, the way you pursue your goals, or the way you carry yourself with confidence and calm. They might see you as someone who is planning ahead, thinking long term, or living life with intention. There's a recognition that you have ambitions and a sense of direction, and they notice that you're not just drifting, you're actively shaping your path. They might think of you as steady, trustworthy, and someone who approaches life and relationships thoughtfully. This isn't flashy energy, it's grounded, practical, and dependable, and they see that you take your commitments and responsibilities seriously. This is someone who genuinely notices the way you move through your life. They see your focus, your ambitions, and how you handle responsibilities, and it impresses them. Maybe they watch how you juggle work, friendships, and hobbies, or the way you stay calm and collected, even when things get hectic. There's admiration here, not the superficial, ooh, look at them kind, but deep recognition of your capabilities and the way you handle yourself. They might notice the little things too, how you follow through on plans, how you keep promises, or how you approach challenges thoughtfully. They respect your discipline and patience, and it could make them wonder how they fit into someone so grounded. It's the kind of energy where they think, wow, they have their life together, they know who they are, and they're intentional about everything they do. And I know you may not feel that way about yourself with the Wheel of Fortune, but this is how they see you. They think of you as capable, intentional, and impressive. They respect your life, your consistency, and your ambitions. And this shapes the lens through which they see the connection. It's admiration mixed with curiosity. They want to understand how you operate, what you care about, and where a connection with you could go, all while recognizing and honoring the grounded, steady energy you carry. At the same time, we have the Two of Swords as their energy. When we look at the pages in their energy, swords for their curiosity and observation, cups for what they want emotionally, it's clear that their indecision doesn't mean inaction or lack of interest. Instead, it's more about needing time to process, explore, and understand the situation before fully engaging. There is a story of potential and beginnings. The Two of Swords shows the tension, the indecision, and the crossroads. The indecision isn't about a lack of interest. Even if this interest is tentative and not fully mature yet, there's hesitation, and it feels like things won't develop significantly in the immediate future. But Just to satisfy curiosity, let's take a sneak peek into what could happen if these energies stay as they are. We'll pull a few cards representing the path going forward if things remain as is. Two of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles. Knight of Wands. First, the Two of Pentacles. I feel it mirrors the Two of Swords energy we saw earlier, that sense of indecision, balance, and juggling multiple priorities. This could reflect you, them, or both of you. Maybe you're both balancing work, personal goals, friendships, or other commitments, and the connection isn't the only thing on your plates. Life is busy, and this juggling act makes it harder for the connection to naturally develop. Next, the Eight of Pentacles. On one hand, it shows that priorities might be elsewhere. Maybe career, studies, or personal growth are taking the main attention. Again, this could reflect you, them, or both. On the other hand, it could indicate that if the connection were to continue, it would require conscious effort and hard work from both sides to make it sustainable. It's not effortless or automatic at this stage. Some attention, patience, and deliberate action would be needed to nurture it. Then I have to say that the Knight of Wands feels like a development of this connection from the present energy we saw at the beginning of the Page of Wands. So the connection has the potential to develop. Compared to the Page of Wands we saw at the beginning, which was curious, playful, and exploratory, the Knight brings movement, momentum, and more defined action. The connection won't stay in that tentative, let's see what happens phase. There's potential for real forward motion. There's momentum here, passion, attraction, and the desire to explore the connection more actively. Think spontaneous invitations, bursts of attention, sudden plans, or moments that feel thrilling and alive. It's that spark of adventure that makes the connection feel dynamic and full of life. But the Knight of Wands also comes with its challenges. It's impulsive, impatient, and sometimes inconsistent. While the connection will develop, it may not unfold steadily. There could be highs and lows, moments of excitement followed by pauses, or bursts of energy that aren't sustained. This might look like someone showing intense interest for a short period and then stepping back a bit, or passionate gestures that aren't backed by long-term commitment yet. I'm drawn to pull more cards to see the long-term potential of this connection. The current energy shows curiosity, tentative interest, and playful exploration. Pages, some indecision, Two of Swords, and the connection itself has spark and momentum. Page of Wands evolving into the Knight of Wands. Pulling long-term cards will show what could manifest if this connection continues along its natural path. The Devil. The Ace of Wands. I feel like I don't see the Devil as negative in this context. I see it more as a relationship that would be intense, transformative, and full of fire. There's a depth and gravity to the bond, not superficiality. Both of you will be challenged to face what you truly desire or fear in yourselves and each other. With the Ace, there's the spark for adventure, exploration, and growth together. The intensity of the Devil combined with the freshness and drive of the Ace of Wands points to a relationship that could be thrilling, transformative, and highly charged, but also one that requires awareness and conscious effort to balance with respect, boundaries, and personal growth. This might look like a connection that's undeniably magnetic, full of chemistry and playful or adventurous energy, yet at the same time challenges both of you to confront deeper emotions, patterns, or expectations. So let's pull oracle cards. I actually felt drawn to pulling 3 for this pile, instead of 2 like pile 1. The first card we have is Wealth and Abundance, number 17. The affirmation here is, I let life bless me with many gifts. And I want to say right away, This echoes the very first oracle card we pulled for this pile, Serena, abundance. There's a strong repetition here. But what's interesting is that I don't feel this card is so much about the connection itself. I feel this is about you. Your energy came up as the Wheel of Fortune, and this fits perfectly. You may be in a phase where life is moving, shifting, opening doors. Opportunities are around you. This card feels like a reminder that abundance is available, and it will come in divine timing. Abundance is not just materially, but emotionally too. Support, connection, possibility. Life is offering things. Let things come in. Let life surprise you. Let yourself receive. The second card we have is improbable. The third card is wrong moment. These cards point at the connection with your person. I want to be very clear here. This doesn't feel like a never. It feels like a not likely right now. This card speaks to odds, timing, and alignment. Something that, in theory, could exist, but in practice doesn't quite line up yet. It's the kind of energy where two people may like each other, feel curiosity, but the circumstances, the inner readiness, or the emotional availability just aren't fully matching. This really echoes everything we've seen so far. The indecision, the juggling, the focus on other things, the pages everywhere. The desire is there, but the structure isn't. Right now, the conditions are not fully supportive of something stable or grounded. And this feels less like a failure of the connection and more like life saying, not yet, or not like this. This connection exists in a space where interest is real, but grounding is missing. Your energy from the start was movement, change, cycles turning. You're in a phase of your life where things are shifting, whether that's emotionally, relationally, or internally. You're not stagnant. Even if you feel confused at times, your life is moving forward. You're being pushed into a new chapter. Their energy, on the other hand, was completely different. This reading is not about lack of interest. It's not about indifference. And it's definitely not about you not being enough. It's about timing, emotional positioning, and indecision, especially on their side. Now, when we connect that to the Ten of Swords in the past, things start making sense. For some of you, this Ten of Swords belongs to the history of the connection. Maybe this relationship already went through something painful, a breakup, a betrayal, an ending that felt final or deeply wounding. And even if communication resumed or feelings never fully disappeared, that pain still lives under the surface. So now, instead of diving back in, this person hesitates. They pause, they overthink, they keep one foot in and one foot out. For others of you, this is not about your shared past at all. This is their personal past. A previous relationship, a long-term situation, or an emotional ending that really changed how they show up in love. Something that left them cautious, guarded, maybe even a little pessimistic about promises and commitments. So even when something new and exciting appears, like this connection, they don't meet it with full momentum. They meet it with brakes on. And for some of you, you might actually still be in a relationship with this person, or in a very undefined space. And that Ten of Swords represents a phase where things felt like they couldn't continue the same way. The Page of Wands energy we saw in the present then makes sense. It's like trying to restart something. And that's key here. Everything about this connection right now feels light. Pages everywhere. They show curiosity, interest, attraction, communication, emotional openness. But at the same time, it's in a testing the waters way. Not because they don't care, but because they don't feel ready to go all in. And this is where the future energy really speaks. If things stay as they are, the path forward looks busy, scattered, and inconsistent at first. Juggling life, responsibilities, emotions, other priorities, work, personal growth, distractions, not necessarily third parties, but other focuses. This connection doesn't disappear, but it doesn't become the main focus either. Then we see movement. The Knight of Wands shows up. This could be a rekindling or a moment where finally the connection moves forward. Long term, the Devil and the Ace of Wands together tell a very honest story. There is pull. There's a sense of I can't fully let this go. And this connection opens a transformative space, but not a soft or traditionally romantic one. This is not fairy tale energy. The devil here feels like shadow work. This connection can change you, motivate you, and awaken parts of you that were dormant. But it asks for awareness. The second oracle card speaks to improbability. This ties directly into the Two of Swords energy of your person and the mixed signals around this connection. There's an element here of this could happen, but the conditions aren't aligned. Not because there's no attraction or interest, there is, but because timing, emotional readiness, or life circumstances are not cooperating. This fits beautifully with the Devil and Ace of Wands we saw. The spark is real, the pull is real, but the odds of this turning into something emotionally stable as things stand now feel uncertain. It's one of those connections that exists in possibility more than in form. Then, the third oracle card, Wrong Moment, really seals the message. This doesn't say wrong person. It doesn't say never. It says, now is not the time. And again, that lines up with the pages and indecision of your person. I feel called to say something about the wrong moment card. This doesn't mean a relationship is impossible. First, this wrong moment feels very tied to the energies we've already seen. Your energy with the Wheel of Fortune, and their energy with the Two of Swords. Timing, readiness, and indecision are playing a huge role here. Second, as we've explored, a relationship is still possible, even under the current circumstances. But it may not be 100% fulfilling. It might not fully meet what you want or need. Okay, pile 2. I want to ask the cards if there is a right moment. Queen of Cups. This is beautiful because she brings emotional maturity, intuition, and compassion into the story. The answer is yes. There could be a right moment for this connection. Let's explore this energy. I'll pull more tarot. The Eight of Swords. The Two of Wands. The Ace of Pentacles. What I'm seeing here is very much a journey to embark on. First, the Eight of Swords speaks directly to you, pile 2. It's a reminder that you may be feeling stuck, blocked, or trapped by doubts or overthinking. This energy shows that part of the journey to the right moment is for you to release that self-imposed restriction and recognize your value and freedom. This is a call to step out of that energy, to release the blocks that keep you stuck, to acknowledge your own value, your own abundance. Not one, but 2 oracle cards reminded you of that. Then comes the Two of Wands. This is the stage to consider possibilities, envision what could be, and decide how to move forward consciously. It's a stage of looking outward, seeing the potential paths, and deciding which direction to take. This is where awareness, perspective, and intention come into play. So take your time, trust your growth, honor your boundaries, and then, finally, we arrive at the Ace of Pentacles. And here's the light at the end of the tunnel. This is the potential for a real, grounded beginning. A connection that has clarity, stability, and alignment. A space where both of you can engage consciously with respect for boundaries, desires, and emotional readiness. A real, grounded, and fulfilling start. Now, let's pull an oracle card for guidance on this journey. Perfect timing. Oh, I love this. It really brings everything we've discussed full circle. The timing will align when the conditions are right, when you've released your own blocks, when you've evaluated your feelings and intentions, and when clarity has emerged. Okay, I really wanted to give you pile 2 some guidance for this journey. So I'm pulling one final oracle card. Communicate clearly. I love this because it's so practical and empowering. Whatever stage you're at, whether this is a new connection, an ex, or someone you're currently involved with, clear communication is your tool. It's about honesty, clarity, and transparency, and how messages, intentions, and boundaries are shared between people. Think of it like this. Even if the timing isn't perfect or the connection feels uncertain, clear communication helps prevent misunderstandings, misaligned expectations, or assumptions that could cloud the situation. It ensures that you and the other person are literally on the same page, navigating the connection with awareness and integrity. And this is the end of your reading pile 2. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this resonated with you, feel free to leave a comment or a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more readings and guidance. See you next time. Welcome, pile 3, the beautiful amethyst energy. This stone carries a deeply spiritual and protective energy. It's known for enhancing intuition, connecting you to your higher guidance, and bringing clarity to your thoughts and feelings. Your card is Adriana, and the message is, I guide you towards the answer to your prayers. Listen and follow the indications I give you through intuition, thoughts, and dreams. Oh, that's lovely. This card ties beautifully with the energy of your raw amethyst. Both are inviting you to follow your intuition, pay attention to the signs around you, and trust the guidance you receive. It's such a gentle, magical energy, and it really sets the tone for this reading. Now that we're tuned into this energy, let's pull a card to represent your energy and one for the energy of the person you're asking about. Your energy is the Three of Cups. The energy of your person is the Hierophant. Your energy is so warm and radiant. I picture you laughing with friends, maybe celebrating little victories, enjoying experiences that bring you joy. You could be someone who organizes small gatherings, someone who finds beauty in the everyday, someone whose presence naturally brings people together. You may be someone who enjoys partying and who parties or goes out a lot, but you don't have to be. This energy is about connection, joy, and emotional openness. You're feeling the flow of life, letting yourself engage with the world in a positive, receptive way, and you may be attracting others with that energy without even trying. It's about feeling emotionally full and expressive and letting your light show naturally. Now, their energy, the Hierophant, is a very different tone. This is someone who is measured, thoughtful. They might be someone who values tradition, structure, and stability. They may be older than you, but they don't have to be. These are energies. I feel they may be someone who thinks about the right way to approach a relationship or waits for what feels like a safe, established path before taking steps. You might notice moments where you feel playful and light, and they feel cautious or measured. You might be wanting to hang out spontaneously, go on adventures, or celebrate small joys together, and they might be thinking about timing, rules, or what is appropriate. You bring energy and emotional warmth, and they bring steadiness and reliability. Both are valid, but they don't always match in rhythm. But there's also room for harmony. Their steadiness can balance your lightness. Their carefulness can provide a foundation, while your energy brings life, joy, and spontaneity. It's like a dance. You're moving with the rhythm of the moment, and they're mapping the steps before the music even starts. Sometimes it will feel like you're on different pages, but there's potential to learn from each other's approach. You're emotionally expressive. You feel deeply, and you don't hide your excitement when something makes your heart happy. You might be playful, creative, warm, and generous with your time and attention. You may be open, enthusiastic, someone who loves sharing experiences and feeling the flow of emotions. You're the kind of person who might send a random sweet message just because it feels right, or organize a little surprise to make someone feel appreciated. Your person might be someone who prefers planning over spontaneity. They might be the kind of person who thinks carefully before committing, who wants clear agreements, and who approaches relationship in a step-by-step way. They could show up as someone loyal, reliable, and respectful of tradition, but they might not match your playful, spontaneous energy. This doesn't make them less interested or less caring. It just shows how their energy naturally operates. Their love or attention might come through steady, tangible support, like helping you with something practical or keeping commitments, rather than bursts of spontaneous affection. There's also a subtle magic in the contrast. All right, pile 3. I'm curious to see the energy of the connection itself. We're going to pull one card to represent the past of the connection and one card to represent the present. This will help us understand how things started, how they've shifted, and what the dynamic looks like right now. The card for the past of this connection is the Nine of Wands. The card for the present of the connection is the Queen of Pentacles. I have to say, this doesn't feel like a completely new relationship where you started texting or you've been on one date. But if it is, the outlook is very positive. But we'll get into it in a moment. Let's start by looking at the past, the Nine of Wands. The first thing I notice is caution. Someone's been standing guard, protecting themselves. Maybe this played out as a connection where one person was hesitant to fully commit. Maybe there was that subtle tension under the surface, the kind you notice when texts are thoughtful but not urgent, or when plans are suggested but then postponed. Maybe the connection stalled for a while. Maybe there was a pause. Maybe you're measuring your own openness, like, do I risk this again? Or protecting your heart while still feeling that little spark of, maybe this could work this time. I don't see this as a situationship from the cards here, but I know how easy it is to perceive guardedness as disinterest. The energy of the Nine of Wands is protective, but not absent of interest or care. They do care, they just move cautiously, and they might check in ways that feel small but meaningful. Like small texts, rather than huge declarations, or listening carefully, showing up quietly, but keeping part of themselves in reserve until they feel the bond is real. If this is an ongoing relationship, I see how past challenges shape the present. Maybe there were misunderstandings, moments of disappointment, or repeated cycles where someone had to pull back emotionally. Maybe you noticed them retreating sometimes, even though you knew they cared. It's endurance, pile 3. They haven't given up, even if it's been bumpy. There's a thread of persistence here, a sort of, I'm still here, I'm still trying, I still want this to matter. And I feel like that's beautiful, even if it's frustrating at times. If this is a new connection, the Nine of Wands is showing that past experiences are coloring the present. And looking at your energy, I feel like this is their past. They may have been hurt before, so there's caution baked in. This may be someone who wants to connect, but has learned to protect themselves. And I say that they want to connect because we have this beautiful Queen of Pentacles as the current energy. I mentioned earlier that this doesn't really read like a brand new connection. And here's why. The Queen of Pentacles is an energy of stability, grounding, and serious intent. This isn't someone who's just casually exploring or testing the waters. This is someone who shows up consistently, takes responsibility, and is thinking long term. So, if you are in a new connection with this person, be prepared. They have serious intentions. They're not playing games, they're not flitting in and out. There's a real desire to create something meaningful, solid, and lasting. And when you combine that with the fact that their energy is the Hierophant, it amplifies this even more. This is about tradition, structure, commitment. This person is capable of envisioning a path forward that's not just fleeting, but deliberate, anchored, and potentially very serious. Now, what does that look like if it's a new connection? Well, it could be someone who is thoughtful in their approach. They don't rush things, but they show up consistently. Maybe they're already thinking about how to integrate you into their life, asking about routines, or planning things that indicate longer term thinking. Maybe they're not making grand romantic gestures every day, but the small, steady actions show clear intention. They might also test boundaries in gentle ways, seeing how aligned your values are, how you handle communication, or how you respond to honesty, because they do want something solid. They could even bring up conversations about the future, traditions, or expectations earlier than you might anticipate, not because they're pushy, but because they're serious. If this is an ongoing relationship, the Queen of Pentacles energy shows that things are stable and nurtured in the present. The past caution we saw in the Nine of Wands is being replaced by care, attentiveness, and grounded effort. This might be someone cooking for you, handling logistics, remembering the little things, or just being reliably present, emotionally, practically, and mentally. They're showing they're invested and capable of supporting the connection without losing their own stability. And the Hierophant energy here reinforces this. There's a sense of structure and thoughtfulness about the way they approach the relationship, even if it's subtle. There's someone who doesn't take emotional commitment lightly. If this is an ex, well, they'd like to reconnect. This card shows growth and maturity. The past challenges, the Nine of Wands caution, the hesitancy, they're still there in memory, but now there's an intention to do things differently. This person might be showing up more responsibly, with patience, consistency, and a practical, caring approach. Maybe in the past there were misunderstandings, delays, or miscommunication, but now they're putting thought into actions, demonstrating that they can create stability. It could be planning things that honor both of your needs, keeping promises, or consistently checking in ways that feel grounded and thoughtful. Generally, I feel like this Queen of Pentacles shows someone who brings comfort and reliability. They're present, they show care, they value the connection, and they have a clear sense of purpose. They could be someone who nurtures with words, actions, or practical gestures. They might help you when you need it, listen carefully, or quietly support you in ways you notice in hindsight rather than immediately. They're about showing up, following through, and creating a foundation that could last. So, yes, in any scenario, new connection, ongoing relationship, or reconnection, the present energy says, this is someone with real intentions, someone who takes things seriously, and someone whose care is grounded in both thoughtfulness and action. The Queen of Pentacles, paired with the Hierophant, is not casual. This is solidity, nurturing, and a potential for something substantial. All right, pile 3. Now we're going to move into the next part of your reading. We've explored the energies of you, the person you're asking about, and the connection itself. And I have to say, this has been such a rich, layered story so far. Now, let's take a closer look at the feelings of your person, what they want from this connection, and what they think of you. Let's go ahead and start by looking at what they feel for you, and then we'll move through their intentions and their perspective on you. Ten of Pentacles. What are their intentions? What do they want from this connection? Nine of Cups. What do they think about my pile 3? The Lovers. I love this energy. I have to say, this is lovely. This is the sweetest energy I've seen today among all the piles. Let's pull clarifiers. Two of Cups. 10 of Swords. The World. Let me just say this right away because I can't stop smiling for you. What we're seeing here is huge and so beautiful. Okay, let's begin with their feelings for you. And let me be clear right away. The feelings are definitely there. There's emotional connection, care, and also a sense of long-term investment. The cards showing up tell us about someone whose heart and mind are both engaged in this connection. This isn't just surface level attraction. This is a bond that has the potential to lift you both, emotionally and spiritually. Even if this connection is new, the Two of Cups indicates real potential. There may be sparks, emotional depth, or a sense of giddy energy when you interact. In general, this isn't casual energy. This is someone who feels aligned with you, enjoys your company, and instinctively wants to maintain balance in the relationship. They notice how you think and feel, they respond to your energy, and they feel a pull toward emotional harmony with you. Their affection is heartfelt, tender, and reciprocal. There's admiration, appreciation, and a desire for closeness. This is someone who notices the little things about you, who values your presence, or who wants to spend quality time building a meaningful connection. And it isn't a casual or fleeting feeling. With the 10 of Pentacles, they are thinking about long-term security, not just for themselves, but for the connection with you. They're imagining a future where you're part of a bigger picture. Maybe they're already talking about plans, their willingness to include you in routines, or even in subtle hints about stability. If they're not talking about it, they're definitely thinking about it. Maybe they think about what life could look like together, how your routines could mesh, or how to build shared stability. This is someone whose feelings are grounded in real life possibilities, not just romantic fantasy. We have someone whose feelings are both practical and heartfelt. They care deeply, but their care is grounded. This is not someone swept up in fantasy alone. It's someone imagining you in a future that feels real, stable, and emotionally connected. They may be quietly planning or thinking of ways to nurture the connection, combining their heart and their head. They might imagine what a life together could look like, or instinctively consider how your paths align. This could show in steady actions, thoughtful planning, consistent check ins, or a desire to integrate you into routines and life patterns. In other words, their feelings aren't fleeting or casual, there's serious intent behind the care. Now, it's important to note that these feelings may not show up in the ways you expect. I can see that your emotional expression, Cup's energy, might be different from how they process and show theirs, Hierophant energy. They might be slower to verbalize or dramatize their emotions, preferring to show them through action, consistency, or practical gestures. So if sometimes it feels like their care isn't visible in the way you're used to, know that it's still there. It's just expressed differently. The Two of Cups assures us the emotional bond is real, reciprocal, and meaningful. If this is a reconnection with someone from the past, their feelings reflect both memory and growth. They've carried forward lessons from the past, but the Two of Cups assures us that emotional connection remains. You may see moments of hesitancy, but underneath is still care, desire, and a real bond. There's a desire to reconnect in a meaningful way, to honor what was, and to approach what could be with a more thoughtful perspective. He may show it in ways you hadn't noticed before: consistency, reliability, making you feel included in plans, or quietly ensuring that both your needs are considered. They want a future together. I just slipped and used he pronouns. They don't have to. Their energy, the Hierophant, is a more masculine energy. Going back to the reading, I'm feeling that if this is someone you're currently in a relationship with, you might already know deep down all of this. They may not express love the way you might expect, but that's a reflection of different emotional languages, not a lack of feeling. The Hierophant energy in them structures feelings around stability, long-term thinking, and practical demonstration. And even when it seems subtle or understated, the emotional depth is profound. Your energy may be more open, expressive, or intuitive, while theirs is practical, steady, and thoughtful. You might wish for dramatic declarations or immediate emotional transparency, but instead, they show care in consistent, intentional ways. But you might see them investing in long-term plans, keeping promises, making you part of routines. Even if their affection doesn't always feel visible in the way you expect, it's authentic and committed. If this is a new connection, these feelings suggest someone whose intentions are serious. They're interested in something meaningful, grounded, and emotionally rich. Even if you don't see it yet, because of their guardedness we saw with the Nine of Wands earlier. These feelings suggest that this person is capable of seeing beyond surface attraction. They're drawn to emotional resonance, shared values, and mutual respect. They may proceed carefully, but the heart is fully invested, imagining possibilities, contemplating how to merge paths, and considering the long-term potential. And they're not just feeling for the here and now, they're envisioning what could be. And paired with the Two of Cups, it's a combination of vision and intimacy, practicality and warmth. They're not careless with their heart, and neither are they careless with yours. There may be little ways they show care. You'll see that they are consistently present, genuinely invested, and thinking in both the emotional and practical dimensions. The Hierophant influence of their energy ties the cards together. Their heart and mind are aligned with intention, structure, and values. They want the connection to be meaningful and responsible. Their affection is filtered through care, thoughtfulness, and the desire to do things the right way. They want a union that feels aligned at the level of soul and values. This could even point to proposals, engagement, or marriage down the line. Overall, the cards couldn't be more positive. Their feelings are grounded, genuine, and serious. There's affection, mutual respect, and a vision for something stable. They are emotionally invested, And there's a desire to create a connection that's both heartfelt and secure. The combination of cups and pentacles suggests a balance, emotional warmth paired with reliability, care paired with long-term thinking. Whether this is a new connection, an ongoing relationship, or someone from the past, the message is the same. Their feelings are real and they are strong. All right, pile 3, let's move on to what they want from this connection. This part feels very straightforward. The cards are clear and direct. They want something that feels good to their heart, something that brings joy, comfort, and personal gratification. Happiness within the relationship, emotional harmony with you, or simply the experience of being connected in a way that feels rewarding. This is someone who wants a connection that leaves both of you feeling fulfilled, emotionally enriched, and content. The Ten of Swords tempers this sweetness with a hint of caution on their part. Perhaps they've experienced endings or disappointments. Maybe they've been hurt before and want to ensure they don't repeat those patterns. They want emotional joy and satisfaction, but they also want safety and mindfulness. If this is an ex or someone from the past, their desire may be tinged with reflection. They want to reconnect or explore the relationship, but with awareness of previous mistakes, heartbreaks, or challenges. Their approach will be informed by lessons learned, ensuring that if the connection rekindles, it's more grounded and intentional than before. If this is a new connection, they may show interest gradually. You'll notice a careful, measured pace. They want to enjoy the joy of getting to know you without rushing. Overall, the energy is clear. They want emotional fulfillment, joy, and connection with you, but they also carry awareness of past patterns and want to protect the emotional integrity of the relationship. Combined with the Hierophant influence, this tells us that their desire is serious, intentional, and rooted in values, stability, and long-term perspective. If this is an ongoing relationship, they want the bond to feel rewarding while making sure past conflicts or patterns don't resurface. And honestly, with all these cards, I wouldn't be surprised if there's hints of an engagement on the horizons or talk of marriage. What they want is both joy and security. They're seeking a connection that is emotionally rewarding, but also mindful. They want something that feels right, fulfilling, and sustainable, while still being aware of their own boundaries and lessons from the past. All right, pile 3. Now we move into what they think of you. The cards here are deeply significant. What they think of you is not superficial. They see a resonance with you that touches multiple aspects of life: emotional, mental, and practical. They perceive you as someone who matters in a meaningful way. They may notice the subtle qualities about you: the way you handle challenges, your empathy, your intelligence, your humor. Maybe they find themselves reflecting on how you think or the way you express yourself. There's an attraction that is both emotional and intellectual. It's a considered, thoughtful kind of connection. The Lovers also speaks to choice and discernment. They may feel that you represent an important possibility in their life, a kind of potential they don't take lightly. This tie in to everything we've seen so far. They're thinking long term, and they see you in their long term future. They see you as the right person for them. If you're in a new connection, they might take things slowly, wanting to understand your rhythms, your communication style, your boundaries, and your desires. Maybe they're watching how you interact with the world, noticing your values, how you treat others, and gauging whether your goals align with theirs. Now, let's layer in the world. It signals deep respect and admiration. They see you as someone complete, someone who has grown, accomplished things, and reached a level of maturity and stability in life. Your achievements, personal, professional, or emotional, and being impressed by how you manage challenges. They may admire your confidence, the way you carry yourself, your ability to make decisions, or your emotional intelligence. They see you as someone with a complete life, which may create both admiration and hesitation. They recognize your independence and the fullness of your personal world. And I can't help but say, this card reminds me of the saying, "You're my whole world." I feel like they think that of you, in a good way. They recognize your potential as a long-term partner or as someone with whom a meaningful connection could flourish. In an ongoing relationship, they may think about growth, stability, and balance. They notice your accomplishments, contributions, and presence, and want to ensure their actions reflect respect and intention. They may also reflect on the balance between your life and theirs, noticing strengths and areas for adjustment to align better. If this is an ex or a rekindled connection, they may think about what made the connection meaningful and how much you have grown since then. They may still hold admiration and respect for you, recognizing past depth and value. Their thoughts may include reflection on lessons learned, your growth since the past. The lovers could also show that they still recognize the bond you had as significant, meaningful, and impactful. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's just how much the cards are reiterating the messages. If this is a new connection, they may observe, think deeply, and proceed carefully. Their actions are measured to ensure alignment. But whatever stage your connection is at, these cards create a picture of someone who sees you as emotionally resonant, significant, and whole. They perceive a deep alignment with you, and they recognize your completeness and accomplishments. They think of you as someone they deeply value and admire. They see potential for a serious, meaningful, long-term alignment. They may feel both drawn and cautious, drawn to the emotional resonance, cautious because of the awareness of your completeness and the responsibility that entails. Overall, pile 3, what they think of you is very positive, deep, and significant. They see your heart, your completeness, and the potential for meaningful connection, even if their thoughts aren't always obvious in the moment. This is a person who values and respects you on multiple levels, and their mind is processing all aspects of what it would mean to be close to you. And I have to mention that the Lovers and the Two of Cups are, in my experience, some of the most powerful cards you can get in a love reading. The Lovers isn't just attraction, it's alignment, choice, and recognition of a meaningful bond. The Two of Cups shows the actual flow of love and partnership between two people. When these cards appear together, it signals genuine connection, mutual respect, shared values, and emotional reciprocity. In a love reading, they speak to real potential. So, as we continue, keep in mind the power and significance of these cards. Well, now, I want to take a sneak peek into the future of this connection to see how things might unfold if the current energies remain as they are. This isn't set in stone. Think of it more as a snapshot of potential paths, a glimpse of what could happen if neither of you shifts your approach, perspective, or timing. The Magician. The Queen of Cups. The King of Wands. Okay, the first card for the future is the Magician. I love this because it immediately tells us something very empowering. You already have all the tools you need to navigate this connection. You have the emotional intelligence and inner resources. You are capable of shaping the course of this connection, even if external circumstances or the other person's indecision remain present. It's a reminder that your energy, intentions, and focus are powerful forces in this dynamic. Looking at the future through the lens of the Magician, it suggests that the connection has potential, but its development depends heavily on how both of you choose to proceed. The Magician tells us this connection has the potential to become something deeply important. The next steps, the timing, and the development of this connection are very much in both of your hands. I want to add that the Magician speaks about manifestation too. You have the power of manifesting this connection. You have the ability to influence what comes next. If this is a new connection, the Magician shows that you have the tools to guide it in a positive direction. Conversations, actions, or small gestures can create momentum. If this involves an ex or past connection, it points to the possibility of a conscious reinvention of the dynamic. The Queen of Cups in the future spread shows us what the emotional landscape of this connection could look like if the possibilities presented by the Magician are fulfilled. If you both choose to invest in this connection, if there is reciprocity and the willingness to embrace the connection, There will be a future of emotional depth and closeness. This could mean that the connection may develop into one where both of you respond to each other with consideration and empathy. There could be moments of heartfelt understanding, genuine attentiveness, and quiet support. If it's a new connection, you might notice a gradual deepening of trust and emotional openness, little signs that someone has attuned to your feelings. There could be a slow but steady unfolding of intimacy. You may notice moments where your person seems particularly attuned to you, checking in, listening closely, noticing small things that matter to you. There may be shared experiences where emotional resonance is clear, but not always verbalized. You might feel that they care deeply, even if they don't express it in the ways you expect. The connection could feel like a safe space to explore feelings, with emotional curiosity and heartfelt exchange gradually increasing trust and openness. If this is an ongoing relationship, the Queen of Cups shows that the emotional tone may shift towards stability and nurture. Past tensions or misunderstandings might be approached with patience and empathy. This could look like genuinely listening to each other during conflicts, offering comfort, or showing support in practical ways. Small gestures, shared routines, or consistent attentiveness that signal care without needing dramatic words. There's a sense of emotional security here. If this is an ex or someone from the past, the Queen of Cups suggests the possibility of emotional reconnection, or a softer, more compassionate dynamic. You may find that interactions feel calmer, more emotionally intelligent, and grounded in understanding. It could also be a time where boundaries are honored, mutual care is expressed, and both parties interact with a sense of emotional maturity. There might still be unresolved feelings, but they can be approached with kindness and clarity rather than reactivity. In all scenarios, the Queen of Cups suggests that the emotional side of this connection is alive, nurturing, and receptive. This could look like late night heart to heart conversations, checking in about feelings without assumptions, showing care through actions more than words, slowly building trust, or even small surprises that show attentiveness. If you're both working, studying, or juggling responsibilities, the Queen of Cups reminds you that even in small interactions, emotional connection can grow. It's steady, nurturing, and reciprocal, but it's also a journey. And we arrive at the King of Wands. It suggests a future where initiative, clarity, and decisive energy shape the connection. If current energies remain unchanged, it indicates that one or both people may take bold action to define or move the connection forward. It's about clarity of purpose, confident expression, and moving forward with vision and intent. If this is a new connection, it could mean that after a period of emotional attunement and conscious alignment, someone steps forward decisively, making their intentions clear, initiating plans, or taking steps to develop the connection in a tangible, concrete way. If this is an ongoing relationship, perhaps one partner takes the lead in solving issues, planning for the future, or actively building the relationship. It's a card of initiative meeting opportunity, where passion and vision guide the next steps. For exes or past connections, the King of Wands suggests that if reconciliation or renewed engagement occurs, it will come from a place of decisive energy and clarity. There may be bold moves, honest conversations, or shifts in the dynamic that clarify intentions and set a clear direction for how the connection will evolve. Taken together with the previous two cards, this future could look like a relationship that develops with intention and emotional maturity, someone stepping forward to make plans, commitment, or a growing dynamic where emotional understanding and personal action combined to create a balanced, evolving connection. Overall, the future energy here is about combining heart and action. Emotional connection, intuition, and care are present, but so are confidence, decisiveness, and vision. I'm called to pull a card to represent the timing of this evolution. Two of Wands. The evolution of this connection will take time. There will be planning, weighing options, and looking at possibilities before taking action. There could be long pauses between messages or meetings while thoughts and plans are considered. Thoughtful gestures rather than impulsive acts. Careful observation of each other's actions. Planning steps and stages. Small milestones first, larger commitments later. This is someone taking time to look at all the options, balancing life responsibilities, emotions, and intentions. It's slow, yes, it's carefully considered slow, not disinterested or stagnant. The pace allows for a more stable, grounded connection in the long term. Patience here can actually strengthen the connection, giving it a foundation of thoughtfulness, alignment, and intentionality. Let's move on to the oracle cards. I was called to pull 3 cards for guidance instead of 2. And I honestly don't know why, but I feel there's an extra layer here that wants to be seen. The first card is self-worth and confidence, number 9. Immediately, I thought back to your 3 of Cups energy. And I'm like, you don't need confidence because your heart, your energy, your way of being is already so open, vibrant, and emotionally generous. But I feel this card is here as a reminder that you are worthy, that your energy is beautiful and deserving of mutual love and respect. The second oracle card is open-hearted people. I feel this one is gently reminding you that you don't have to navigate this alone. Friends, family, or trusted mentors, there are people around you who can offer support, advice, or simply a listening ear. I can't help but think back to your very first oracle card in this reading, the one that spoke about guidance from spirit and your intuition. Together, these cards form a beautiful map for guidance. They speak to trusting yourself, staying connected to supportive people, and remaining open to spiritual insight as you move through the energies of this connection. And the third card is Astara with the message, you deserve the best. Make sure your desires and your dreams aim high and don't settle for less. This feels like such a powerful closing note. It feels like confirmation. This card feels like spirit stepping in and saying, yes, this is a beautiful connection, something aligned, something meaningful, something worthy of your energy. So, this brings us to the end, pile 3. Let this sit with you and allow your intuition to keep speaking to you even after this reading ends. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this reading resonated, feel free to leave a like, a comment, or share how it landed for you. I love reading your thoughts. And if you'd like to see more readings like this, don't forget to subscribe. Take care of yourself, trust your inner guidance, and I'll see you in the next reading.